too quick to criticize. Obligation to survive. We hunger to be alive. Yeah. All it is.
Boston College at Clemson. Just so you know. I'm going to add that to the lexicon, or the lexicon, as it were. Taj Boyd and the Tigers trying to make sure they don't look past BC and 2 Florida State. Boyd to Sammy Watkins, 10-7 Tigers. But Boston College, let me tell you, Adazio is doing a very good job with this team. They are improving quickly. Chase Reddick to Alex Amadon, 69 yards. And BC, who gave Florida State fits, remember, put 34 on the Noles and lost by a couple of touchdowns, had a lead in the 4th, and Taj Boyd goes in. He's like a single-wing tailback when they get down there in the red zone. And then Reddick's going to get hit by Tony Stewart, and Vic Beasley will scoop and score, Mark.
And Vic Beasley, look at the hustle closing right there. Terrific job of them just hustling to the football and gathering around it. I like this Clemson defense and their attitude.
I have declared Clemsoning an archaic term. Tigers answer the bell. They beat Boston College, and that sets up the showdown next Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC from Death Valley. Florida State and Clemson. It's going to be a great matchup. There's going to be a lot of talk about the quarterbacks with Boyd, a Heisman candidate, Jameis Winston, perhaps a Heisman candidate. And as great as Winston's been, he hasn't seen this kind of pressure. And I'm not just talking about from the Clemson defense, but just the entire event, the surrounding atmosphere he'll have to endure.
No, that's absolutely, you have no idea how people are going to react, and you'd rather have somebody who's been in that experience. But I want to tell you, famous Jameis Winston has done everything that you could possibly ask him to do up here. He possesses unbelievable strength. Let's remember, he was the #1 recruited quarterback coming out of high school. Not only strength, but look at that throw. On the run, right over the defender. He has poise, he has talent, and he has courage. Look this, he knows he's going to get hit right in the jugular vein, but it doesn't bother him. He makes a tremendous throw here, leads the receiver perfectly. His statistics are unbelievable.
And for Clemson, Taj Boyd, the experienced one, the 5th-year senior, comes back again, make plays in the red zone area. You know he's going to keep the ball. It's no great mystery, but he can pull it down and run with it and make plays. Yes, you know he's got the great legs. He's going to throw the ball vertically. Yes, he's going to get it to Sammy Watkins, throw it on the run, throw it down the field to play. But what is very prevalent here, the last 2 games, Sammy Watkins, yes, catching the ball, but quarterback Taj Boyd, 789 yards the last 2 games, 6 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. He's on fire coming into this game.
These 2 quarterbacks have very similar type numbers. In fact, Winston's numbers, and Boyd's for that matter, compare very favorably in terms of touchdowns accounted for versus turnovers to the last 3 Heisman Trophy winners. South Carolina and Arkansas, Jadeveon Clowney's been focus of a lot of drama recently. And, you know, Jadeveon was getting after him, but had a little bit of a rough day in terms of production. But that's the way it is. He gets so much attention, Mark.
He gets double-teamed. He gets chipped on. He's fouling the ball over. Here he makes his tackle on the day, but, you know, for him it's difficult because every game he knows he's going to be the center of attention for every offense.
Well, he soaks up 2 blockers almost every play, though. Connor Shaw-Lou had another terrific day.
Oh, I mean, he threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for 1. He has not thrown an interception this year, the entire year. And South Carolina's offensive line does not get enough credit. They have great back in Mike Davis. If this guy just makes good plays, he's the son of a coach. I want to tell you, he is the difference. That's why South Carolina's a national contender.
That was different from what Les said about the Suns, right? 52-7 South Carolina. That part was me. Alabama and Kentucky, AJ McCarron. Now, Alabama was sloppy. They fumbled twice in the red zone, sloppy early. I mean, they had drop passes on AJ, and still McCarron threw for a career-high 359 yards. And Kevin Norwood, when healthy, has terrific hands that set up a touchdown. T.J. Yeldon goes for a $124. You see the blocking. Alabama had 668 yards of offense. That is the most they've had since 1973 when they went for 833 against Virginia Tech. Easy Tide win. Though he is not the flashiest, nor does he put up the biggest statistics, Counselor Holtz is bringing a case before this court that there is no player in college football more valuable than AJ McCarron of Alabama.
You're right, Your Honor, and the reason I'm doing that, we hear about all these athletes, and we rant and rave about how great they are because of their elusiveness, etc. All A.J. McCarron knows how to do is win. A couple of years ago, after Coach Saban won the national championship, I said, what are you going to do at quarterback? I'll never forget. He said, we have a young man who knows how to win, knows how to lead. He said, I think we're going to be fine. He has won 2 national championships. He's on his way to a 3rd. He has thrown over 41 touchdowns the past 2 years, only 6 interceptions. Great athletes come, receivers come, running backs come and go. AJ McCarron is the one constant factor, and I believe he's the best quarterback, the most valuable quarterback, and the only constant factor in Alabama's championship is Nick Saban, AJ McCarron.
That's all well and good, Your Honor. He is a very valuable player, but he's no more valuable to his team than Brett Hundley is to UCLA, than Taj Boyd is to Clemson, than Jameis Winston is to Florida State, than Marcus Mariota is to the Oregon Ducks, because they're all great quarterbacks playing for undefeated football teams. And if they lose those quarterbacks, they have unproven backups, just like Alabama.
When those quarterbacks he mentioned win 2 national championships and are on their way to a 3rd, I'll be happy to listen to him. But I'll tell you, he does not get the recognition because he's not flashy, he's not loose. All he knows how to do is win, and it reminds me of an Andrew Luck, only with a little bit more poise.
Your Honor, he's talking about the most valuable player to his team. I bring up Johnny Manziel, the current reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Without Johnny Manziel, do you really think Texas A&M would have a winning record this year? He's as valuable to his team as AJ McCarron is to his team. There are many players that are valuable to their football teams, just as AJ McCarron is to Alabama.
I'll decide now.
All flash. It's all flash. I'm talking about somebody that doesn't get the
It's all
recognition
proven commodities.
nationally and should be in the Heisman.
They're all proven
Great,
commodities.
Very
They have
high.
no
Both of you have made very eloquent arguments. Both of you have made points that I agree with, and I really hesitate to make a ruling at all on this because, by definition, it seems like you're denigrating somebody, particularly someone who, if you count his redshirt year, owns 3 national championship rings. I'm not moved that he is more valuable than, say, Johnny Manziel, because I think that A&M would be a losing team without Manziel.
No.
There's no question Alabama wouldn't be in the championship race without McCarron, only because we have to put the absolute of most on it. I'm going to rule in Counselor May's favor, but if anything, it's a tie because McCarron is as valuable as any player in college.
That's true. Because that's the thing we're unfair. Because he's solid, he's consistent, he's not flashy, he doesn't make all these fans here. All he does is win, and he doesn't get the recognition he deserves, and that is wrong. Because the people on TV, they're ready the highlight. Oh, look at this highlight, look at this run, look, and nobody pays attention to him.
You know something? Some people know how to win with class and dignity.
Bailiff Kenneth is going to have to come back and get Lou back in order.
Welcome to the hay, all you sports fans, or to you, the individual, as part of the collective out there in the tubosphere. Welcome to the one-man sports rant, Gen 4.0. I am and always have been your host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Road, talking a breakdown of all the college football final highlights. See from a few of our Pi Kappa, Alpha, house sweethearts. U of U Chapter Alpha Tau, giving you props. Alright, the reason I do a show and break it down like this, it's split up into many parts. My sponsor is the DMCA. It covers the fair use standard, minimal use, and derivatives. All the video highlights courtesy to ESPN. Everything else to the OMSR. Alright, so this is the baseline show. Just want to let you know what's coming up. You know where you are based on the title. I always title these so that you know what you're getting. I used to do this in like a 30-minute or a 20-minute between the full hour of college football final in this grand expose that I thought was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. No, I mean, I realize a lot of you just don't have time. I mean, some things you may be interested in terms of what was played yesterday. Other things you may not. It's hard to title 10 different things going on in the limited space that YouTube gives you understand, despite the tags. And I'm really good at making tags, catch people's attention. So that's that. But mainly, great analysis, statistics that, was not able to cover from the actual games that I pulled from. The reason I do film from the games is to give you the sort of that at-the-game feeling. It's just a little difficult due to lighting issues. There's a slight strobing effect. I apologize for that. It's an issue of filming frames per second versus editing frames per second, and, with my limited resources, I just can't get it up to 80 frames per second. So that's that, if you care. Alright, so what's coming up? depending on which show you're watching, I'm not sure where you're going to be. But, yeah, the first 3 games, the upsets, and then Les Miles going off on a reporter. Careful what you wish for when you ask him something like that, because he will let you have it. I love his style. So does Reese. And I swear Reese is talking to the OMSR when he says that. You know, this show has produced over 1 million hits. And I'm not bragging about it. I'm just saying, this is Gen 0.0 to this current rendition. And it doesn't show right now because I've taken down a lot of shows and the hits went with them because of third-party content ID issues. And it's just like, I'm not going to deal with that all the time. So I willingly took them down, just like I took down the entire channel on Gen 0.0. Alright, so what else? Also, the helmet stickers. Check that out. Army, never done before. And dude from Ball State, going to the hospital, coming back, playing, and then scores a touchdown. Pretty kick-ass. Everything else will speak for itself. What we're going to take time out for now, in closing, is asking the oracle to the sports gods. Kim Pak here, 1,300-year-old Buddha from Angkor Wat. 25-5, he was right about Stanford, Washington. So now, we're going to ask about the big game, the biggest game midway through the year. Florida State and Clemson. Now, you have to ask a question, all of the aging where you are not partial to, meaning you may get an answer you don't like hearing. That way you can't be accused of that's what you wanted to hear in the first place. So Florida State being sort of the 4th or 5th university that I bleed around here, I like Clemson too, but I'm more partial to Florida State. Since Florida State is going up to Clemson, we're going to ask what are the chances that Clemson's going to win. The Shinto Bell, Japanese style, I have no idea how many hundreds of years old this is. You're wishing well. Hey, Kim Pak, big game next week. Florida State's going up to Clemson. So we'd like to know, what are the chances that Clemson's going to win out at home and preserve their number 3 ranking? You have the I Ching magic dice here. Much like the coins. If you don't know what the I Ching is, look it up. This is very similar to. Wait till all the dice show up. I'll explain as we go along. Alright, so there's a 3, 4, and 3. So that's 10 times 10 to get it within the 100 percentile, which is 100. Divide by the number of dice, 3. So that's like only 33, makes it 99. So 33 plus the number of dice. 3, 36, plus what it adds up to, 46. So you heard it here first. Kim Pak is saying 46% chance that Clemson is going to win at home. That sounds like, the way you interpret that, a close game. Like Florida State's going to score, you know, late in the 4th quarter, or vice versa on defense. They're going to have a defensive stand. All right, so we'll see if it gets to be 26-5 or 25-6. All right. You want to get involved vis-a-vis comments? Great. No flip comments allowed. Like Reese Davis, I run a kid-friendly G-rated show around here. All right, don't forget to miss all the other college football final highlights. There's only like 6 or 7 of them. Thanks for watching. No silly DUIs while you're up there.
To the breeze of the heaven.